6 pieces, 6 completely different jobs. And now you know what every one of them is actually trying to do out there. That's the real starting point for thinking like
Let's go! I did it!
If this helped things,
Let's go!
Drop a like, subscribe for more breakdowns like this one, and let me know in the comments which piece you want us to go deeper on next. See you in the next video. The pawn. Let's start with the pawn. There are 8 of them per side, more than any other piece, and they're way more important than people give them credit for. The pawns aren't just filler, they shape the whole board. They set the structure, lock down key squares, and quietly steer the direction of the entire game. A pawn can only step forward 1 square at a time, except on its very first move, when it's allowed to leap 2 squares instead. It captures on the diagonal, not straight ahead, so a piece sitting directly in front of it is enough to shut it down completely. And here's the catch: pawns can never retreat. Once one moves, that's it. No going back. That's what makes every single pawn push feel so heavy. Push it to the wrong square, and you might be stuck with a weakness for the rest of the game. But there's a payoff hiding in that one-way street. If a pawn survives the journey all the way to the far end of the board, it transforms into a knight, bishop, rook, or almost always a queen. That promise of promotion is why even one lone passed pawn can decide an endgame outright. Countless games come down to a single question: can one side walk a pawn to the final rank before the other side stops it? Next up, the knight. The only piece that can hop clean over everyone else. Its movement doesn't look like anything else on the board. 2 squares one way, then 1 square to the side, forming an L. That odd little jump lets it land on squares nothing else can touch, which makes it a nightmare to deal with in cramped, closed positions where the pawns have everything else boxed in. Get a knight planted in the center, and it can threaten up to 8 squares at once. Push it to the edge of the board, though, and it turns weak. Its options shrink fast, which is exactly where the old line, "A knight on the rim is dim," comes from. One quirk worth knowing: a knight swaps between light and dark squares every time it moves, and given enough turns, it can eventually reach any square on the board. Short range, sure, but far more flexible than it looks. The bishop. Then there's the bishop, gliding diagonally as far as it wants, but forever stuck on the color it started on. That means every player has 1 bishop locked to the light squares and 1 locked to the dark ones, for the whole game. Bishops love open boards where their diagonals run free. But lock the pawns into place, and a bishop can go completely dead, especially if its own pawns are sitting on its color, boxing it in. Chess players call that a bad bishop, and dodging that trap is something you're already thinking about from your very first moves. Now hold on to both bishops, and you're covering every diagonal on the board, light and dark. That combo, the bishop pair, is one of the strongest partnerships among the minor pieces, often edging out a bishop and knight duo or 2 knights, especially once the position opens up. The rook. The rook moves in straight lines, up, down, left, right, as far as it likes, and it's one of the heaviest hitters on the board. It really comes alive on open files, columns with no pawns in the way, where it can dominate the entire length of the board from one spot. Pair 2 rooks together and they're brutal, trapping the enemy king, escorting past pawns home, even mating almost single-handedly. Early in the game, though, rooks are stuck waiting. They need pawns cleared and pieces developed before any open lines appear. One of the strongest spots a rook can grab is the 7th rank, the row right in front of the opponent's back line. From there, it's hitting pawns and squeezing the enemy king at the same time. That's exactly why rook endgames show up so often. Once the board thins out, rooks finally get to do what they do best. The queen. The queen is the strongest piece by far. She's a rook and a bishop rolled into one, moving any distance in any direction, straight or diagonal. That range makes her nearly impossible to match. Lose her, and you're usually in serious trouble. The material gap she leaves behind is brutal to claw back without something big in return. Even so, smart players tend to keep her home early on. Bring her out too soon and she becomes a target, getting chased around by cheaper pieces while your opponent develops for free. One of the most common beginner traps out there. In the middle game, she's deadliest working alongside her army, not charging in solo. And by the end game, she barely needs help at all, usually just the king, to force checkmate. The king, the piece the whole game revolves around, yet oddly one of the weakest movers on the board. 1 square, any direction. and never onto a square where he'd be under attack. Keeping him safe is the whole point of chess, and exposing him too early is one of the most common ways players lose at every skill level. That's where castling comes in, the king's best defensive tool, tucking him safely behind a wall of pawns while activating a rook, both in one move. It's the only move in the entire game where two pieces move together but flip to the endgame